Say me ba Sammy Jemfi, we are looking at him with an eagle eye. Mummy nyina yenye careful na asema me kan muntie ni. He went on a private mission.
Exactly.
He went out there. Maybe nim kwaso ni mania grada no da.
Also nim no da. First time on my
Ana wayi sika afri ne ka mu no wakan no de ama no. Ye musa ye ho Jesus Christ ebra man no koye yi no omo fa aba so omo koto abodo no. Ose mo hwan na onye bone da onto bo mo ba no. People ebinu ye nim pofo mo ye party mo tam $50,000 to bomb behind the scenes. Stop talking about it. Stop talking about it. My brother, we will not support this. My friend, I didn't. He who comes to equity must come with clean hands. Me, I will say it, and I don't care who owns his dog. Way is dead on arrival. Sammy Jemfino is dead on arrival. It's dead on arrival. Nobody has the moral right to attack that young man. Me, first person, I'm Sammy Jemfino on UTV. I hate a brand to me. No, exchanges come blows. I'm telling you, that gentleman will be any will be to me attacking on this particular matter. I'm telling you, public official, what evidence is so real sika. Who evidence? Bring it out. Let the special prosecutor deal with him. Young man, Sammy Jemfino, more Brakrano, $10,000 on yabi. What are you talking? $10,000, I say. More Brakrano on your Sammy Jemfino can have $10,000. What are you talking about? Nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong. Nobody should go and attack the gentleman. There's nothing wrong. And I'll say it. Nothing wrong. And I will say it anywhere. There's nothing wrong.
On say, you see, idea about Kwayana.
Politics at you. Politics. Careful. You're careful where we want to trade on. Gold board documents can see be a PO. Says Sikabi Aira. Budget, almost about 50,000 euros. Aira ma gold will be a copy, baby. And we'll chase Sikawa Bontina. That is a lead. That is a lead. Tamja what one year in your doing.
Minim na ira juma.
That be 2% say. Jai.
Minim na ira juma.
Mamon call. That be me someone. Yeah, presidential candidate Kenya Japan. Japan. Or then or chase Sikaman Crawford or Renko for school fees. Now that you are president, no be about no easy karma will be no be a coach no the ababe. We have to stop it right there. Stop it right there. Let's find an empirical evidence. Say Kwano, your man will real dream baby out here. What are you talking about? Be saying me support.
Debbie,
why a young man at here or a young man what do Muhammad bread? And people want to vilify him to get his job out of him. No. Media obi koswa ya me de. Young men in whole country ano. Wa apologize who said the youthful exuberance. In the full glare of the general public in our culture, maybe it's not good. We can vilify him on that grounds. But not
and that's what we are talking about.
Well, but we shouldn't take it to that level.
But what is the chief of staff?
Sammy Jemfino join chief of staff. We need the M1. It's not going to help. Let the young man enjoy.
Oh, wow. I'm going to show you. Company doesn't get my memory star. What do you do? What is going on? Oh, scary. Sit down. Back at your back. What do you want? Who come on the star? Come on, dear. Who back here? I'm not sure what happened. Okay, I'm saying yes, me. Okay, I'm saying yes, me. Everything on me. Everything. I would be scared. No, they don't put it.
I will see a video way. Here, at the Ghana Highway Authorities. Ebiana Munwe. By the who and the among the road at Chamo. And before we come, I said, young woman, as young woman, almost say, go away, papa. A lot of trains that I know, but at the end of that, some go forward and start at the end of the over here. Iron rods now, I walk concrete, and they are strong. And now, Nippel Yasada, and the concrete in there from say, I don't want to try iron rods now. Tom said that dry iron rods in the concrete in the good for ma. No much when you're quiet to take iron rods. Ah, at Simota, Master Highway. Middle lane now, almost a no-go area for pedestrians. A moon every day. And on my regu from Sana. Iron rods a woman, you know, my eating na deco. The Ghana Highway authorities, moon, we are. Yet they are who any about the road.
Oh, see water, only water, one car go. The car to go, the car to go.
This is dangerous.
It's okay, oh, not crap.
Yes, it's over here, Mr. Mo. And perform more, I don't know more. Mr. Teddy, I didn't share. Mr. Teddy, I don't know more. Small man, but don't go, I don't know. I'm going to Ebiana Sabi and Grana, I'm fully said, them I want to be here, but I'm going to meet in your Mr. Teddy, oh, my baby.
Safely, you shall say, I'm saying, you know.
It's over a baby, that's your baby.
If you will tell you, say, you're sure, my child, my boss, my brother, my everything.
An illegal mining site just by the main I am free Wasakupon Road, and you could see the mining residue flowing towards the roadside over there. And the man who owns the site is called Intiakun, and he admits openly before the cameras that this site belongs to him. And he admits it's illegal. He says they are doing galamsey, but he's still doing it anyway. He admits it boldly. Me pese for the record, me who Papa was told good. One oh, say, honey, good no. We just want a few who are. I'm not the good night. I am into 1 hour. One day, man, I'm the commanding palm this one. No, they are okay on an effect. I would be. or license at the top.
I didn't to mean today.
Now one sounds or license at the top.
I had a camera some of them last one.
Are you team or before?
Yes, sir.
Good afternoon. Yes, sir. You have license. Your name again?
My name is Kofi Frempo.
Okay. I maybe I'm not sure you.
We say my licenses. No, sir. And you had it. I said, I didn't make you my and I'm a child was say. And I was say, I can't say, a white concession. Go for
yes.
I'm saying tribute mine. Yeah, chief from her to what do Adiamra.
Inti.
I know tribute.
Normally, hammer tribute and not tribute as concession.
Yeah.
Maybe I ignite Claudia Numu. Claudia Numu, a concession. Inti tribute, Nema, or Pine Sebe Egmont.
And I'm just them patch over there. Means me in a hand deny and I can't assemble and request it to know.
And I want to be so saying a day never now yet tomorrow. And there's no original yet.
Government is broke, government is broke. The people are spending billions to go inside the government that is broke. Have you ever seen a minister who resigned because government is broke before? Government has no money. Have you ever seen a governor who said, ladies and gentlemen, when I was elected, I thought the government had money. Now I discover government has no money, I resign. Have you ever seen it? Government has no money, but they are bringing money out at election time. Where is that money coming from? So they are lying. What is happening is that there are two types of wicked people in government. Type 1, they eat current money. Any money they find in government, they will eat it. They are wicked about that one. There is type 2. Type 2, they eat current money and future money. They will say, my term will end next year. When I leave, how will I eat money? Let me borrow money now and borrow money of the future and eat it.
Well, good morning. Good morning. Thank you very much for joining us on Good Morning Ghana. Today is the 20th of May, 2025. This is the day the Lord has made. Most grateful to the Almighty God for seeing us through to today. Today is a Tuesday. We're happy that we're back here to join the nation's conversation, what's happening in our dear country, Ghana. My name is Aldo Moro. Thank you very much once again for tuning in. I'll go straight ahead and look at the stories on the front page of the newspapers that we have received this morning. And I'll start with the Daily Graphic. The Daily Graphic this morning reports that to recruit more education support personnel, TEU tells government. Lead in fight against corruption, ICAG charges members. Collection of property tax to be decentralized, minister. Enact policies for processed foods to combat NCDS, experts demand of government. The Ghanaian Times, floods hit Accra again. 4 die, 3,000 houses affected, cars swept away. Help Agnes Owusu to undergo brain tumor surgery. Seeding now standout performer among global currencies. Finance Minister. 200 education support personnel exit every month without replacement. TEU. Daily Guide. Stop talking. Put the light on. Minority to Jinapo. Bawumia apologizes for over 2024 defeat. Atuforcing Hills Gold Board for city stabilization. Tokono 49 judges refunded undue rent allowance. 3 die in Adenta flood. The Insight. ECG privatization. Government's plan for private participation draws skepticism. Ukraine. Marshal Zelensky's high noon. NPA committed to improving service conditions of fuel tanker drivers, says Godwin Tameklo. Tackle Galamsey menace holistically. Dr. Think Twice urges President Mahama. GMPC boss outlines strategic upstream research at Africa Energy Summit as he calls for innovation and investment to boost Ghana's oil and gas sector. The New Republic. Bawumia in tears in London. Nam1 loses big in court. Appeal to stop trial flops as victims yearn for justice. Accra underwater, casualties mount amid building regulations failures. Adenta farmers in agony as land grabbers move in. 99% of emergency calls hoax as pranksters flood hotlines. Daily Post. Gold Board has contributed immensely to recent currency stability, ATO forcing Ghana's Six Fisheries partnership with China. NPA commits to improving service conditions of fuel tanker drivers Godwin Tameklo. Daily Guide. Stop talking, put the light on, minority to Jinapo. Ato forcing Hales Gold Board for city stabilization. Tokono 49 judges refunded undue rent allowance. 3 die in Adenta flood. The Inquisitor. Appreciating good work, Ato hails Gold Board for crucial role in city stability. Architects of lies at GACL strike again with falsehood on DMD's office accommodation. NPA poised to improve service conditions of tanker drivers. Court of Appeal shows NAM1 red card. Metro Lens. Enough talk. Fix Dumso now. Another press slams government. Gold Board, a major contributor to city stability. Dr. Caselato forcing. Why Edu Lodge concerns Mount over Chief Justice probe venue. Leader Network sounds alarm over exploitation of African youth through migration programs. So that's it for the front pages of the newspapers for today. I'll be back shortly with my guests who are already here. Please stay with us.
Anti-cavity, gum protection, brighter teeth, and fresh breath.
I'm a fat missy way.
The patch of Bantama.
Matasi.
It's her smile. The fresh breath.
Me, Judy said we used to Kel 360 toothpaste. Some kind.
Kel 360 toothpaste.
That's Kia. Kel 360 toothpaste. It's a gum protector.
Onim Jom Kasan. Kile Hossein. Kel 360 did the way. It's cool mint. Gives me fresh breath and your confidence booster.
And you will see so feeling ye. Kel 360 toothpaste.
Happy smile.
Kel 360 toothpaste, anti-cavity, gum protection, brighter teeth, and fresh breath. Kel, happy smile. This advert is FDA approved.
Fire pomudi ni agobio Ghana fueni age efri say ya your local spices na ya frafra dia ya sankofa natural spice
me dey go me jollof mu ni me still ahodoma e ma ne dance
Stanley the barbecue dey go on
sankofa natural spices and one you use 100% natural said the yepen
Adofo mamunye huge mistake sankofa natural spices the
FDA ejedi nkratu yatu. Sometimes the unexpected happens and the hero falls down in his own story. But he needs not stay down for long. Cosmopolitan Health Insurance is your trusted health partner. Whether an individual building a business, with Cosmopolitan Health Insurance, your medical care is our concern. For the best health insurance solutions for corporate institutions, groups and associations, families and individuals, choose Cosmopolitan Health Insurance from our over 700 accredited health service providers nationwide. Call us on 0302 540 668 or 0501 678 547 for all your health insurance solutions. Cosmopolitan Health Insurance, your medical care is our concern.
Ama, nansi mi general well-being enkoye kwao. Ama ma ye bohu se kontomra akija.
Nansi me hu se me nyo basima kra. Ama me kunu ni me into kwankwa. Oh you right. Enye mo ko. Give us JC lecture and the capsules. Aye num bom. En ho asem na mo kana. E boa emma ene meme nyina. Na ma wo ba ye obesima. Na be ma so aye be masima. Ya, we be boa wuku. Ama ne giant sa wo de hye ne botum. Na wanyinya ne nim te sese ne oyi chokmo. GC mixture and a capsule.
A painful about one more menu for one and Quada when you feel to me.
Hello, my friends. My name is Kelkit Toothpaste. Wow. I was made to be gentle on your gum, but protected. I will protect your teeth from cavity, make your teeth whiter, stronger, keep your mouth fresh all day. And best of all, I'm strawberry flavored. So put on a smile and try me.
That's amazing.
Just try me. That's my job.
If you say so, jump on my brush. Makes your teeth stronger, chicky whiter, chicky stronger. Yay! You did it!
I'm glad you like your new toothpaste. Don't forget to brush both day and night.
Kelkits, happy smile.
All right, you're still live on Good Morning Ghana on Metro Television. Thank you very much for staying with us. Let me say a big thanks to Polytang for making it possible to bring you today's edition of Good Morning Ghana. And let me say that, Charlie, this is Ghana, and you only get deceived if you're not sure of what you're buying or you don't know what is on the market. When it comes to water storage tanks, the name we all know is Polytank. It has been with us for over 30 years and has been trusted by all these generations. Make no mistake, always choose Polytank for guaranteed quality. It's available at the same price across the country at Polytank partner shops. So be it Rambo, Hippo, Sumo, Super Sumo, durability is always assured. Polytank, the original, always the best. Papano and Kasa. Polytank does not request for Momo payment online. So joining us this morning are two very distinguished gentlemen. One of them hasn't been here in a while, actually. And when he came here this morning, he had to personally apologize off air for not attending to our invitations sometimes. And I know he'll come and attempt to set the record straight, but you know, don't mind him. Don't mind him. Anyway, so joining us this morning is Mr. Kojo Poku. Now, Mr. Kojo Poku is an energy expert. At some point, he wanted to lead the MPP, he wanted to become the MPP's flag bearer. But for now, he's a member of the NPP's communications team, and he's joined us for the show. Mr. Kojo Nsafua Poku, good morning.
Morning.
Thank you very much for joining us.
I'm very well,
it's good to see you.
I mean, you're filling big shoes. So, anybody who sits on that chair following the big shoes of Mr. Randy Abe is a big person. So right now, we need to now bow when we see you, because the chair you sit on makes you a bigger person.
I knew that he would start his commentary with some mischief, and he's done just that. Kojo and I go way back, so I understand where he's coming from. Anyway, thanks for the compliment.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for the compliment.
You've done well for yourself, my brother.
Thank you. Thank you. Mohamed Abdulaziz is also here. He's a former Miang MP and also Deputy Administrator for GEFEC. Boss, good morning. It's good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Yeah. That's the man, Mohamed Abdulaziz. So, don't worry, the camera would... yes, good to see you.
Good to see you too.
The two of you decided to do suits today, and I look...
The tradition is what you say it is. We are there. We are just visitors.
When the president goes very formal, you can only follow us. when you have
I don't know
His
why.
Excellency in suits.
I don't know why. I don't know why you say so calling president.
It's not even a problem when you call me. Let me tell you a problem. I was in Jubilee House last year sometime for something.
Okay.
Then I'm walking down. You know, there are two receptional areas. One that goes to the presidency and the other one that goes to the vice president.
Okay.
So I'm coming out of the vice president's area, right in front of where the reception area that goes to the president.
Right.
Somebody shout, "Hey, Mr. President!"
Okay.
And I knew the person was calling me. But I didn't want to turn around in that space because he's meeting to be called the president in the office of the president, and he turned around. So I looked back to her like, my brother, I beg you, where we are, I know you mean well, but please, let us be able to live here in peace. To call somebody who is not the president, Mr. President in the office of the president.
But at the premises of Metro TV, I mean,
I will take it in good
well
faith. But in the office of the president, to call me Mr. President, when I now take the hill and the president say, arrest that guy.
Yeah. I see. Well, let me just add that Kojo Poku was actually, as you do know, he's an energy person. He was a member of the, was actually the chair, I think, of
chair of the communication committee,
of the energy,
the energy committee, yes.
The energy committee, and so he's well versed in the energy sector. And so one of the issues that we want to look at is look at the state of our power sector. And I'm sure that when we get there, he would be more than capable of speaking to the issue. But I also told you the executive director of INSTEP PR?
Institute for Energy Policies and Research, INSTEP.
Okay, INSTEP. Yes. Okay, so that's Institute for Energy Policy and Research.
Executive director.
Oh, okay.
It's been going for INSTEP has been 5 years now.
5 years now?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. You know, oftentimes anytime we call you for an interview, we just say energy expert.
Yes,
energy
I know.
expert.
But the
So
point is because what happened was that, you know, in the civil society space, for I've been doing civil society for the last 15 years. Yeah. And most of the time, we have a bigger umbrella called COSECA.
Okay.
Which is a coalition of the concession, ECG, came out when they were trying to do
I think Nana Jantua,
Kwame Jantua, Kofi Bento Limani, Manteyao is a very big umbrella.
Right.
And we are all in there, basically, Richard Nyama and everybody.
Yeah.
But when we now have meetings, I realize that all of them are representing various civil society, and that is a coalition of civil societies.
Okay.
So I was the only one that was part of COSECA that at that time did not have a civil society institute.
Okay.
So I now started INSTEP so that it would now won't be that everybody, Kofi Bento representing money, this person represent this, then I was only Kojo Poku representing Kojo Poku. So we started INSTEP, Institute for Energy Policies and Research, and that was now part of COSECA. But we've been doing a lot of, we've been organizing quite a number of seminars and stuff like that. Doing the Gridco ECG issue when NAPO first took over, we organized with ASEP, organized the seminar at La Palm for the minister. We've been doing some good work in the sector.
Interestingly, you don't sell in STEP as much as you sell what your area of expertise is, which is energy expert.
No, well, that's what you media people decide to. Even when I was coming here, I saw the flyer. I realized that they put MPP communication members. And I'm like, what is that? You have a whole big man like me coming to a program, and what you put is communication.
We should have raised
no downgrading of the communication team, but I think, you should do well to just make sure that even if you can't put Mr. President, then you put something better.
I didn't actually know that the man was loving the Mr. President. No wonder.
You know who has the best,
receives the thing.
You know who has the best one for me?
Yeah.
President Kufuor.
Okay.
Calls me attempted.
Really?
Attempted? Yes.
Attempted president.
That's a good one. President Kufuor sees me and he'll be like, attempted.
But that was a good attempt.
Yes, so I take it for a great man like that to acknowledge your efforts and gives you attempted. I think I take it. And Papa, if you are watching this morning, greetings to you. Yes.
Some people have criticized us more for going too hard on the issues as soon as we cover them. But so you guys relax a bit. So let me see if we can relax for the next 5-10 minutes on some issue before we get into the vex issues for the day. How is your monitoring like, media monitoring like in the mornings? So when you wake up on a typical day, do you monitor a lot of media houses, or you don't even bother to monitor? You don't need to mention names,
Okay, so
do you bother to monitor media houses, or what do you do typically?
I am on about, if not I'm exaggerating, about 50 platforms, social media platforms.
Okay.
About 50. It's more, but most active ones about 50. And they run, some of them are multiple MPP and DC, some of them are just MPP platforms. So the first thing, you pick up your phone in the morning and you try to check your messages. You realize that you have plenty messages. And I'm somebody that I'm updated in terms of I don't leave WhatsApp messages unopened.
Okay.
So I go through every one of them.
That's a lot of work.
You brush.
Because we're talking hundreds.
You peruse. You don't really read it. You just peruse through, and then basically, then the most news is normally filtered through on some of these platforms. So what normally is on your front page would have come through on the social media pages, all that. And there is a few people who do well for us by scanning the front pages of the news and put it on the platform. So that is a good start to basically know what made the headlines. Okay, so you see that, and for me, that's it. I shut off.
That's it.
That's it. I don't.
So
listen.
you won't tune to any radio station, TV station?
No, because 9 out of 10, they are all calling me for one response or the other, especially now that there's these energy conversations in the air. And I put my phone on silent to avoid those early morning, because it's too much. You wake up in the morning, you've not even gotten into your zone. And sometimes they are the one that wake you up. As early as 6 o'clock in the morning, if I don't wake up earlier, that phone call is coming through to tell you that, sir, we'll call you earlier to let you speak to us. So it's a bit, I wouldn't say it's a nuisance, but it's a bit of just not letting you be yourself in the morning. So I switch off. The most I do is music.
I see.
I think music is better.
Music.
In the morning, yes. Do music in the morning. Stay away from all the runs on the various radio stations. And
do you have any preferred genre of music?
Yes, depending on the mood I'm in the morning. Sometimes I'll just put my Lumba flash drive in and just listen to Lumba all morning. That is Lumba, yes. The greatest DL. The greatest Ghanaian artist. For me, if today I have my own way, and I've always said this, that if I ever have the power, I would think that we should name something monumental after Daddy Lumba, because he's the greatest Ghanaian music artist ever. And he can even compare in the world for his achievement in terms of contribution to our playlist. Since '86, so maybe 2 years ago, I think the last song he came up with, or Phone Like Cancer Phone, that wasn't an album, I think that was a single. But before that, Daddy Lumba has given us an album every year since 1986. I know that. It's not a small feat. And that when I'm talking about album, the guys today are just releasing singles and putting it on streaming services. Lumba will give you an album which will have 6, 7 songs on there. And he's been consistent of that from 1986 to current generation. Nobody. You can tell me which Ghanaian artists have done that. So you take him to the world stage and see that, okay, how many artists in the world has been consistent with albums from 1986, every year album? Because Michael Jackson, even when he was alive, did 1 year, one album every 4 years.
Yeah.
Lumba does one album a year since 86 till recent. Brother, we don't give him credit enough.
So what you make of the debate as to the debates about whether, so between the two artists,
which two?
We're talking about Kojo Antwi and Daddy Lumba.
Ooh, my brother, it's
Which-
not a
which-
comparison.
which of the two is
I
greater?
always say it's not a comparison. Kojo, when he does an album, it's a good album. But how many albums has Kojo Antwi done? You see, when a year...
Yeah, but your basis for, but you see, I find it a bit interesting, but because your basis for concluding that Daddy Lumba, for instance, is much more successful and is greater than even, as you call it, Kojo Antwi, is because he's done more, he's produced more albums.
Yes, but
that's a more
your
quantitative way of looking at it.
playlist,
in terms of
you
quality,
see, hold on, quality, you can't, listen, they are on the same, you know their style of music is different.
Yes.
Lumba style of music in high life is different. Lumba took after from the Charles Amoa, the German hip life, the high life Boga. Boga high life.
Boga high life,
It started
yes.
off at Boga high life.
Like the George Darkos and so on.
George Darko, Ben Bracco, Charles Amoa,
Yes.
they started that Boga high life.
Yes.
So, and then it started off with Kojo Antwi and Daddy Lumba. Not Kojo Antwi, what's his name? Charles
Amoa.
No, not Charles Amoa. Daddy Lumba and Champon.
It was a duo.
Nane
Yes, it
Champon.
was a
Thank
duo.
you. Nane
Nane
Champon.
Champon, yes, yes.
And they followed that up. Kojo Antwi is more of a reggae high life, right? So the style is different. More love songs, and people love that.
Yes.
Daddy is more a kutia, but proper, a bramun sem or cansem chira utinin semwa, or he's speaking to you. You can play, if you live in a compound house, don't play a lot of Lumba songs because you probably have a problem with somebody in that house. You understand? But as an artist, what is your depth? Your depth is the catalog of music you have. So what I'm saying is that if you are comparing catalog of music, Lumba's catalog and Kojo Antwi's catalog, Lumba's catalog is more populated than Kojo Antwi's catalog. In terms of style of music, it's different. Vocal, both sounds the same.
But if you look at someone like, say, Kojo Antwi, this is somebody who has actually shared stage with the likes of Salif Keita and some of these big Afro pop.
So
somebody
the
can
stage
also
that
look
people
at.
share with is what makes them the greatest.
Oh, in fact, I think he's even had a collaboration with a very popular African.
Oh, but that is not
African
the current.
artist.
We shouldn't go
So
there.
somebody can look at it and say he has more of a global appeal.
You see, in Ghana,
than Daddy Lumba.
hold on, in Ghana, let's go a bit of football. I'm a House of Folk fan.
Yes.
And I like the like of Polo, Adolfama, Shamokwe.
Yes.
Those days, did they play any international football?
They
Did
didn't.
Shamokwe play football?
They didn't.
Thank you.
He was a star.
He was a star. So are you saying that because Shamokwe didn't play international football, Kotoko, those days, Kofinti, Banaman, all these people. No, I'm just saying that there are times, but hold on, there are times today. The measure with when you are now looking at my brother Shatta and maybe Stonebwoy and all these people doing back and forth, it is doing like who went where and who did what where. In Lumba's time, Lumba was the one that people were not. Look, my brother, when Lumba was, you know, Lumba's engineer, his sound engineer was a German.
Right.
Buddhist Tiger.
Okay. He was a sound engineer.
Yes.
You really have interest.
No.
He's an avowed follower.
No. But I'm telling you that
yes.
there is not. I think that there's been
no
great.
basis for
Hold
comparison.
on. There are great. Look, in terms of vocal, there's been great artists in Ghana. Because we go to KK Kabubo, all these great artists we've had, Osibisa, who just recently, we've had great artists in Ghana. But what I'm comparing is the catalogs that they have, the depth of catalog. 40 years of 40 albums. No, name a Ghanaian artist, and maybe I'm wrong. The likes of Michael Kweku-Mante and all these guys can call me and correct me. How many Ghanaian artists have 40 albums in their catalog?
Interesting. So you're looking at it purely from the angle of
the depth of their catalog, yes. Because in terms of how they sound, people are Lumba fan for a reason. People are Kojo Antwi fan for a reason. Because Kojo speaks to the soul. He speaks to love. He speaks to that.
But I want to look at it more from. I want to look at it more from who has more of a global appeal.
Global.
I think so.
Lumba.
No,
hands down. Listen. Bronibian Huautie High Life.
Oh, how?
Bronibian. No. Hold on. I'm going to land. Okay. I'm going to land. Bronibian Huautie High Life. So we look at Ghanaians on High Life. Yes. But if you want to look at Abrofo listening to High Life, there's no better Brony than King Charles. King Charles recently released his playlist. Who is on there? Lumba. But my brother, I thought you heard.
Well, I disagree.
Really. No, King Charles recently released his playlist, and King Charles and Lumba is on King Charles' album.
Mama, do you listen to Daddy Lumba songs?
Not really, but I think I admire both of them. Once in a while, I do.
It'll be difficult to choose between the two of them.
Yes, probably because of my limping tree. But I think I enjoy their tracks. Okay. Of course, if you ask me about music, I'm not too much somebody high life. I'll prefer my hip life guys.
Okay.
Than
Afrobeat.
It's a new school.
Than a typical high life. And so when we finished college, those were the days when we had the likes of TikTok or Bravo coming up. And so
Lord Kenya.
Exactly. And so.
Oh, you still listen to those songs?
Oh yeah, I mean, I
there's something you don't know. You know, I was once a DJ. So you don't know that side of me.
Breaking news.
Yeah, no, a lot of people. Oh, but look.
So it's not new, has it?
I used to be a DJ. I used to be an MC. You know, Loud in Accra. When the first Loud in Accra program that was done in Labadi, I even said it.
Really?
With Papa Shidem. Yes. Marco Kweku-Mante will tell you. Those days when Mark used to have his shop in Adabraka, where Achiame Kwame and those days, in the evening I'm there with them. So Mark knows me. I know Marco Kweku very well. So Mark, Lord Kenya, Dasibre, Achiame, we all used to hang out at Mark's office shop at Adabraka.
Those days, Kwame and Kofi.
Tell you. So I used to be a DJ. Then
you know Freddie very well.
Freddie. So, Fred very well.
Freddie Mo Studios.
Yes. So, music is my thing.
Okay.
It's only when I think I came to Ghana in '98. I did a bit of Loud in Accra and then Akwaba. We did Akwaba 2000 at the Independence Square, Millennium 2000 Akwaba. Dennis 90%.
Okay.
It's my guy. We've been doing, I have actually, somebody sent me recently a picture of me and Dennis. I'm on the mic and Dennis on the turntable. You understand? Back in the day. So music is my thing. I just basically came off that thing after some time when I realized that, look, Charlie, let's just face something better than.
And then you transition fully into
politics. I still do a lot of music in my car. Like I said, when I'm not.
So 80s, 90s.
80s, not too much, but 80s. Mid-90s, 90s, hip-hop and R&B is everything.
You are really into music.
Yeah. Whilst at it, Mohamed Abdulaziz was reminiscing, back in the day. In the 90s.
But he's really into, like a music person.
Yeah. Anyway, there used to be a program called Back in the Day. I think it was organized by Bola Ray also.
Okay.
And, it was, for me, I think it was quite reminiscent.
Back in the day.
Back in the day.
What channel was it on?
I think it was hosted at. It was organized at the National Theatre.
Okay.
Bola Ray's Empire Entertainment. I think he did it once or twice, and that's it. So Bola, I don't know whether you're watching the show, but if you can bring it back, it will be nice. I mean, it's always good
all
to
those people who are back in the day are now got pressure and they
and diabetes
they
and
take
so
their
on.
pressure medicine since they can come out. Leave
So
Bola Ray after the new guys. Let him do something for the new.
We need programs like that to deal with our pressure.
But programs like that now turns out to be meeting old people and sitting there and talking.
But it's refreshing.
Oh, it's not.
Someone you
it's
haven't seen.
depressing.
Look, anyway, let's get on with
school reunions. School reunions are depressing. It's fun for a while, then after a while it's depressing because Charlie, conversation is good when we are all on the school platforms. Are you not on your school platform?
Yeah.
So let's keep the conversation there and let's not come and waste our time and doing school reunions.
You are really into.
No, he loves his music. He loves his music.
I can see.
I don't know. He used to do a lot of things in music.
You know, when you make friends with the younger generation, so I call them the millennials or the Gen Zs
and the Gen Alphas.
And you make new friends and you're sitting in the car with them, you're playing these 80s and 90s tracks. They look at you, so you're so old. Yeah. You know, people call you so old. You know, so the generational gap is very big. Anyway, so, Kojo, I'm worried that Accra still gets flooded.
Yes.
Anytime it rains. It's not new. I mean, it's been happening to us almost every year. So it's almost like a yearly ritual.
Mm-hmm.
We don't seem to have found a solution to this flooding problem yet.
Mm-hmm.
So if you look at the Ghanaian Times today, it says flood hit Accra again. 4 died, 3,000 houses affected, cars swept away.
Mm-hmm.
And the story is on page 13 of today's newspaper. And the story here says that, let me quickly do this. Yep, so the story here says, and it's by Norman Cooper and Benjamin Acton Tete. At least 4 people have died following flooding that occurred after a downpour that hit the Accra metropolis and its environs on Sunday, with 3,000 households affected and dozens of cars swept away. While the National Disaster Management Organization put the number of deaths as 1 person who lost his life when he was swept away by the ravaging flash floods while he was riding a bicycle at Dabokobi, the Ghanaian Times has gathered that at least 3 other people died in the process at Adenta. Now, these came to light yesterday when the NADMO officials and the Kole Municipal Assembly, that's Kokma, led by its Chief Executive, Mr. Alfred Alote Gezi, toured some flood-affected areas in Accra, mainly the Odona Sahara Park. The NADMO coordinator at Kokma, Mr. Henrik Noble Kina, during the tour, said the flooding which occurred after the downpour over the weekend, and one which had been persistent for years, was as a result of the overflow of the Odo River. According to him, a report on the perennial flooding in the municipality and flood-prone areas had been prepared and would be handed over to Kokma to help address the issue of perennial flooding within the municipality. For his part, Mr. Gezi assured that Kokma would find a lasting solution to the situation, which included the construction of a drainage system in the area. It is time for us to look at the drainage system and what we need to do about it. Going forward, we have to decide to fix this once and for all, either from the common fund or our own internal generated fund. We're going to put in our budget for next year and see how best we can minimize the flooding. Mr. Gezi said that there was a need for Kokma to collaborate with sister assemblies to help address the issue of flooding in the municipality, as most of the debris that were collected from the upstream ended at Kokma. If you will notice, most of the drainage at Alaju and other areas have been constructed, so they have a bigger volume to contain. But here at Odona, the grass and the earthing materials are always full, so the water does not get space to flow. So we have decided to widen the drainage and concrete it. Earlier, the head of public relations at NADMO headquarters, Kate Oboku, said the 48th Engineers Regiment of the Ghana Armed Forces were called to assist with rescue efforts of persons who were trapped in their homes. As we speak, we are on the field to assess the extent of damage and know the number of people affected that would enable us to offer some relief assistance. Meanwhile, the Ghana Meteorological Authority has warned of more downpour as the country enters the peak of the first phase of the rainy season, which starts from April to July. So from April to July, if we don't fix or we don't get our act together, we may record more casualties. From what we're hearing, 4 died, 3,000 houses affected. Could you
see,
it gets tiring, doesn't it?
Our attitude is more reactionary than a prevention action.
Okay.
We don't seem to do the preventiveness the preventive measures that we need to put in place.
Right.
Look, everybody who is a technocrat or a civil servant in the municipal assemblies and in the ministries sit aloof and make it look like without politicians this country can run.
Right.
And for me, we don't blame them enough. Okay? Let's put it in this context. we've had rains year on year. We know what the challenges are and we know what is going to happen without even having to blink an eye. Somebody will tell you that, oh, in the municipalities, some of them don't have MMCs or they just came in, blah, blah, blah. Why, if you sit there as a chief director of a municipality, all the planning engineers and all the engineers within these assemblies and people responsible for clearing drainage, why do you need an MMC to come in to do that? You don't. Okay? So everybody will blame the politician. People will start blaming the Minister of Works and Housing. People will start blaming the government. But really and truly, desilting of gutters, desilting of drainage, is that the work of the government or the president or the MMC who just came in, or it's somebody's work to do and that person has just sat aloof and not done it? If we get into January, because we go through dry season, in the dry season, a lot of things will blow, the wind will blow, blah, blah, blah. We put all these, our waste disposal process is not the best. So things would have gone into our drainage system, dust would have gone in. We need to desilt from January in preparedness for the rain. So if we do not have a January to March program of desilting and clearing drains in preparedness for the April rain, we are always going to have this problem. And it does not have to be the minister, it does not have to be a politician. The technocrats and the civil servants who are employed in these MMDCs should be up and doing. It beats my imagination that we, look, for the first time we've had floods in, what's that place called? Lakeside Estate. How did we now all of a sudden having flood in Lakeside? Somebody has built an estate, right? The person just collected money, sold the houses, and probably has left the area to its fate. The developers of Lakeside Estate, where are they? What have they been doing? That one too, now you build your estate, collect the money, chop the money. Government is the one that has to come in and do what? Just because people pay taxes. But you build the estate. If you build an estate, then you have an obligation to the people you sold the estate to. Right? So I think that, yes, we are not giving a bit of, we are cutting the MMDC's slack because they just came in and the people who are already in the assemblies should have been doing their work. But now that the MMDCs are also in, we beg them. They should put measures in place and program in place to start desilting and clearing our drainage, because this is only the first rain. The worst one is when, after the rain, the sand comes onto the tarred roads. And that sand on the tarred road will be there for the next 3-4 months. So what happens? The next rain will come and that sand will be there. On the Kaswa coming into Accra, on the Weja area, there is this hill where when it rains, the water will drain the sand into the rain. It got to a point, the double road became a 1 lane. Yeah. Because when the sand is drained into, is dragged into the road, that somebody don't clear it. Right. So, my brother, it's easier for citizenry to blame the politician. But I honestly think that the technocrats and the civil servants in the MMDCs should be doing their work. January to March should be for desilting and clearing of drains in preparation for the rain. Right. Because we know whatever happens, the rains will come. Right. Why are we sitting and waiting?
You know, desilting and clearing the way in order to make way for the water to flow as and when we experience downpour is only one part of the problem, as you said. The other one has to do with the uncoordinated use of land or spatial lands, where people get up every day and they put up their houses everywhere. And so when it rains and the water...
But that's still the town and country planning and the MMDC. I get that. So, but then why are they sitting there and allowing it? I'll give you an example. Mm-hmm. When they were doing the Adenta Dodoa Road, yes, right? When you enter from the Adenta end, you see the amount of houses that they now wrote on for demolish. Mm-hmm. I think after they reconsidered the amount of payment they have to do for compensation, I think they have abandoned the actual width of the road and redesigned the road. Because even the Puppet Pizza at that junction, when you now, where the CCC is, yes, there's Puppet, I think that was supposed to go. Right. But it's still there. They've now, you can see that they are doing the gutters in front of it and all that. It tells you that we sit aloof and let people build anyhow. Then later, when we are supposed to now then it becomes a compensation issue.
Yeah.
The town and country planning, what are they doing?
So the people who are giving the permits for people to put up those houses, what have we ever done to them?
Nothing.
So here's the thing. For as long as there are no sanctions for people who take bad decisions that affect all of us, we'll continue to have this problem. Anyway, Mohammed.
I agree with you entirely with your sentiments. But you see, whilst we blame the civil servants, the technocrats, we also want to blame even the citizens themselves. Look, these stories, we've run these stories for God knows how long.
True.
I'm sure if you want to go through your files, you are going to see similar stories.
In fact,
10 years back, 20 years back, 30 years back.
You know what? Let me say something to support the issue just raised. Annie just sent me.
Okay.
Annie just sent me a Daily Graphic story, 1960.
1960. That is about how many years today?
and check what the headline is.
About 65 years, right?
Yes. Check what the headline is. The headline says, "When the rains came to Accra." That's when the rains came to Accra.
And I'm sure they would have shown pictures.
Yes.
Of
the flooding.
Yes.
Massive.
And so this issue that we are talking about has been with us for God knows how long.
Here we go.
I'm sure the dates.
Here we go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so
that's Kwame Nkrumah. The whole place is flooded.
If there is only one industry that is thriving in this country, it will be the talking industry. That we talk about these issues every year, every month, every day, and yet nothing else gets solved. That's the problem that we have in this country. Now, why would you go and build on a waterway? Why would the assembly grant a permit for that to be done? If the assembly doesn't grant a permit, why are they not bold enough to go and pull down the building?
Good question.
Who are the people involved? Are there people in society we cannot touch? Why do we still construct open drains in this country? Where in the world do they construct open drains again? How much would it cost us as a country to do the silting?
Yeah.
Like you said, from January to March, because you know the rains will set around April. So what prevents us from having a plan to do the silting around January to March? Improper disposal of waste. Our attitude. It rains and people bring their rubbish to pour into the rains. And so everybody has a portion of the blame.
Yeah.
We, the citizenry, have a portion of the blame. The technocrats in the assemblies, and even the political class. Must we wait until some of these things happen before we take actions? And so I think that, look, we have not been fair to ourselves. You remember the Gary project?
Yeah.
About $350 million US. What was the money used for? 2019. Parliament approved about $200 million US, a World Bank facility. That money disbursed, and yet no results, and nobody is called to answer. Yeah. Another 150 was approved as a second phase, and the work remains undone. Yeah. And so everybody has a share of the blame. But
are you saying that the money has been spent and the work was not done?
Yes. Yes. Go and check.
And yet the work has not been done.
$200 million US from the World Bank in 2019.
Yeah, but maybe it was approved. I don't think it was ever this, because World Bank will make sure the work was done. So if I don't think it was approved, but we need to look into whether it was this, because it's difficult for a World Bank money to be disbursed and work not done.
So just imagine that even becomes more of a problem. That the World Bank would grant you a facility of $200 million US
and not use it.
And you subject your people to this kind of cruelty.
Yeah.
That is unbelievable.
Yeah.
And so we just have to change our attitude. People in authority would have to crack the whip and we change our attitude. Look, civil servants are the assemblies. The assemblies today are overpopulated.
Yes.
The engineers virtually do nothing about it. Look, who in this country, especially outside Accra and Kumasi, would actually go and take a permit from the assembly before they go and build?
Nobody.
Meanwhile, that's what the law requires of us to do. Nobody. So it appears our assemblies will have some more work to do. And I look forward to a day when we will make the assemblies more powerful, more autonomous. And that's why some of us believe that, look, let us elect our MMDCs. Let's hold them accountable. if I live in an area that is flooded every year and the mayor does nothing about it, next time that mayor comes to me for an election,
can't even come there to campaign.
Yeah. You get it? But you don't elect the mayor. Your area is flooded. Your education is deteriorating. You have no utilities. And that mayor is appointed. And once he's loyal and in the good books of the appointing authority, I mean, you can go to hell. And so for some of us, we are looking up to a day when we would queue to vote for our mayors, hold them accountable. For some of, look, 4 lives lost. 4 lives lost.
Yeah.
And that ends it. I mean, you can be sure that between today and tomorrow, this story would go down. Until the next rains comes again. And so, like I said, if there's any industry that is thriving and thriving well, it is the talking industry in this country. Go around, you can go into your archives. You are going to find similar headlines. Just the dates will change. You've just shown us one about 1960. 65 years. What have we done about it in the last 65 years? So I think that we all have some, look, it rains and you see people come out to pour their waste into the rainwater. Where do you think it is going to? Where do you think it is going to? People go and build on low lands. You are putting yourself at risk. Look, a young man came to my office last week. And yesterday when he sent me videos of his room, his car was even carried away. I was so sad for him. He's a young man who has just started life. And so we have to do more. But you can check on that facility that I talked about. It was actually a disgrace. You remember there was this engineer who sent President Akufo-Addo to around Bubuashi, was it around Joy FM? Yes. And very fantastic videos. How they were going to transform the place. And the one around Kulebu. There's this drainage around Kulebu. I've forgotten the name. Around Kulebu Hospital. When you are from around the...
Oh, you mean the Kolegono?
Kolegono,
yes.
The beautiful rendition, how they're going to transform the place into an aquatic facility. And with all the beautiful words, what happened to it, nobody was held accountable. And so we must begin to take our lives more serious. I think that we haven't been fair to ourselves, our attitudes, the technocrats and the political class. We all have a share of the blame to take. And like I said, go through your archives. Only the dates will change. And this story, within 2-3 days, will run into another story again. Until the next race will come.
Okay. So we have something from the former Minister for Water Resources and Sanitation, Ledapa. You mentioned it. So watch this video, please. Please watch this video.
Of the World Bank's $570 million economic pump for Ghana was to enable Accra become the cleanest city in Africa. Specifically, $200 million was to finance the Greater Accra Unintegrated Development Initiative. This initiative is a transformative urban project tailored to bolster the city to become safer, more resilient, and cleaner. What is the status of this project?
Mr. Chairman, the component for my ministry is $43 million, and I think I spoke about it earlier. That is to take care of the Odo Basin, to clean it up, and to cap the heaps of waste that we see around the basin. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
You claim that your ministry had $43 million out of the $200 million. How was that $43 million applied?
Mr. Chairman, I have given the components out is to cap about 5 heaps around Tantan. and then the Odo Basin. And it's also to clean up the Odo Basin to make the channels open for water to flow in. Yes. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
So, I'm in January, and the aide for Cecilia Dapa had cause to speak to the matter. And he said, and he actually denied allegations of receiving $43 million for the Odo River dredging, and that the funds remain with the ministry for the GARID project. Now, the story reads that Mr. Kofi Mensah, he has categorically denied allegations, that's a special aid, allegations that a former Minister for Sanitation and Water Resources received $43 million to dredge the Odo River and transform Accra into the cleanest city in Africa. In a statement, Mr. Mensah described the claims as baseless and malicious, asserting that the funds in question, amounts to $42.2 million, were allocated to the Ministry of Sanitation and Water Resources under the Greater Accra Resilient and Integrated Development, which is GARID project. That's what you mentioned earlier. According to him, the funds remain under the ministry's control and have not been misappropriated. So basically saying that, yes, the funds came in.
Is it at the
water sanitation.
But water sanitation doesn't exist anymore.
No, I mean, under the Etzwal.
Yes, but the point
so you're saying that now that the ministry doesn't exist anymore, where's the money?
That's why I was trying to.
Yes.
You see, if the money came into Ministry of Finance.
Yes.
And it was disbursed to the ministry.
Yes.
It can't still be sitting with the ministry.
It can't. Because the ministry doesn't exist anymore.
And that money, no, even while the ministry existed, it will have been spent. There's no way ministry will have $42 million
and not spend it.
And not spend it. It's not, it's a non-starter.
Yeah. Well,
if it was with Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Finance is the endless pit. So they would have probably spent it on something else.
Right.
On paper, it's for you, but the cash would have been spent for something else.
Okay.
But if it is now disbursed from the Ministry of Finance to the ministry's account, there's no way any minister is going to leave $42 million.
CSF has admitted that $42 million
is for cleaning and
made available to her.
You understand? For cleaning and whatever. So for me, we need further and better particulars. So, I'm not very versed in the sanitation area. But
I think the point you're making is that the story doesn't add up.
Right.
The story doesn't add up.
So
because he admits that the money has been...
May 20th, 2024 story
okay.
on City News.
Okay.
That indicates that as at March, same year, that's 2024, about $127 million had been utilized on GARID-related projects.
Right.
And another $65 million spent on COVID in 2019.
Okay, so that was part of the COVID era.
So the question is, what has GARID project money got to do with COVID? $65 million. $127 million. Mrs. Kojo Oponkruma, then West and Housing Minister, as of last year, indicating that $127 million US dollars had been utilized, not disbursed to the ministry, utilized by the ministry, and yet we don't have the results. And so it's just to affirm to you that the money was not just released by the World Bank.
Yes.
It has been utilized by our government officials with no results to show. And these $200 million US, we are going to pay with interest. And yet we are still losing lives. And so that's why I'm saying that, look, the political class cannot extricate themselves from the blame. Because that $200 million US were not disbursed by my innocent old woman internally, but obviously disbursed by the political class.
Yeah.
$200 million US. And when you spend $127 million US in improving on the resilience and integration of Accra, and yet our situation is worsening, we have every right to question you.
Yeah.
And I just want to, you can check for that story.
I get it. In fact, I have the entire document on the Greater Accra, the GARID project.
Yeah.
I have it here, and I'm still perusing it. But whatever it is, I think that you said it is worth going back into.
Yes, no, definitely. If that much was spent at the ministry, the ministry no longer exists. But I'm sure the officials.
The Ministry of Works and Housing still exists.
Yeah, I know, but the sanitation
has been
assumed under Works and Housing.
But official reports will still exist.
Of course, because the civil servants are still there.
And so you imagine going for a loan facility in the name of all of us to improve living conditions in Accra.
Okay.
The money is disbursed, and yet we have no result to show for what the money was disbursed for.
Right.
Do you get it?
Yeah.
It is worrying, President.
No, I agree. I mean,
I agree.
I definitely feel that for me, if anybody says that the money was disbursed to the ministry and it's still at the ministry, I honestly don't think that
they have utilized
the money will sit at the ministry.
Yeah.
It will be very cruel for any minister to have $42 million and sit on it and not utilize it for the good of the people. So if it's been spent. But you see, that other thing I will add is that when you are dredging these things that they do at the Odo and Kolegono, which is basically desilting, taking the dirt out of it.
Yeah.
I've seen it done. And I have my reservations on what they are doing.
Okay.
Because really and truly, the amount and the tonnage of dirt that you are taking out, like what they are doing now, Houston, it's a bit of a work. And the contractor will tell you that they've done the work. You will probably go there and think that it's not done well. Because see, if you look on screen now, what they are doing is basically taking the silt out of the drainages. Now, it rains, and in one heavy rain, you go back, and all the silt will be back in that thing.
So when you desilt, and you don't collect the sand,
yes,
just like they do to our gutters.
Thank you.
They would excavate it out
and leave it there.
By the,
thank you. So the next rain, it pushes back in there.
Yes.
So look, like I said, I am not someone that has paid a lot of attention to our those ministries, you know. But I think we need to do a lot more to stop the flooding.
Okay.
And for me, it is just making sure that January to March is used for clearing our drainages and desilting. One of the things I have always asked myself is that when we did the code for construction and the U-shaped gutters that we had, the size of it, during independence when we started, today, with the number of population that we have, we're still doing the same size of gutter.
Right.
How does that make sense? Because in the past, we had a lot more dirt areas. Now we have a lot more concrete areas. Right? With more concrete areas, it means that more water is now flowing into the gutter than when we had a lot more dirt areas.
What is more worrying is the open gutter that we do.
Well, that's fine, but the open gutter is still the same size.
Right.
The same size of the gutter in 1970 is the same size of gutter today.
When population
has increased and there are more concrete areas and more water is flowing into the water. Is that somebody cannot sit and realize that we need to change the size of our gutters to make them bigger? Today, you see in Adenta Dodowa Road I'm talking about today, the gutter size they are doing on the side of the road is the same size of gutter they are doing. Does that make sense? The gutter we did in 1970. Today, as I'm coming this morning, the Adenta Dodowa, the same size of gutter they are doing today. Why?
We have a lot of work to do.
Look, innovation from our engineers should really, I mean, and I hate this thing where people keep blaming politicians and politicians. Politicians are there.
Yeah.
There are people employed in AESL.
Oh, I agree with you. I agree with you, Kojo. But like I said, everybody has their portion of the blame. I've just given you an example of $200 million. That wasn't disbursed by the technocrats. A minister was in charge. A minister disbursed it.
I agree,
and so not until we have elected mayors, so that such funds would go directly to them, and their constituents would hold them accountable for how it was being used. How would you be doing a project for Accra? Accra, is it a integrated something? Resilience, Greater Accra Resilience and Integration Project.
Yes.
Right? When there's a mayor for Accra, and yet the money is handled and disbursed by the Ministry of Works and Housing and Sanitation. Why? When there's a mayor in Accra.
But I'm sure he'll be part of it. In a
when
way.
the man should be leading it.
Right.
What's the interest? Funds control, corruption. Would that be the motivation why ministers want to be in direct control of such funds?
You can't
when there are mayors?
You can't rule that out. You can't rule that out. There's always a motivation somewhere.
Exactly. So, but this is a mayor who cannot complain because he or she answers to the minister.
Yeah.
Right. If that mayor was elected by the people, right? You can't revoke his appointment. He will be able to speak to such matters and issues.
Yeah.
He can only be removed at the next elections by the people who elected him.
Yeah.
And so it's one of the things that President Mahama and the NDC is very committed to. That by the time President Mahama and the NDC will finish this tenure, we'll make sure that we'll transit from appointing mayors to having them elected on a non-partisan basis.
Right.
The only difference that we have with our colleagues on the other side is that they wanted them elected on partisan basis, and we think that would further polarize this country. We are already very polarized on these NDC and PP lines.
Okay.
If everything becomes too partisan,
well,
don't be surprised when you go to my village. There will be an NDC market day, an NPP market day.
Well, my brother, you see, this thing, now that you guys are in government, when you start going around and doing your consultations, you understand why we preach that it should be done on party lines.
Okay.
You understand? If you do, you've come in, so give yourself some time. One thing I will say, though, is that the reason I'm not bashing the government and its appointees and the MMDC, because they just came in. Because you can't really blame the MMDC. Yes, though President promised us that he was going to do this thing a bit quicker, but he didn't do it the timely fashion that we thought these, because some of them, even some areas still don't have MMDC. Right.
Oh, yes, yes. Now, as for the current MMDCs, it will be totally wrong to want to blame them.
Exactly.
My problem has to do with the former regime, where ministers disbursed $200 million.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But that one, we need further better particulars to comment.
As for mayors who are still being appointed,
yes, I mean, we need further better particulars to harm on that 200 million disbursed with nothing to show for it.
It will make sense to want to
But I would want to now, let me make a quick comment.
Okay.
As much as, like I said, we need further and better particulars to make that conclusive statement of $200 million nothing to show. Oh, my brother, that's what I'm saying. We need further and better particulars. Further and better particulars will show a bit, will give us a bit more information to comment. Yes, but I will not want to say there's no results. If you don't know exactly, if you don't know. Oh, but brother, but the problem is that you probably find out that the money spent, $42 million for the work done, was probably a drop in the ocean for what needed to be done. I can't hold brief without having further and better particulars.
Right.
That's what I'm saying, that I don't want to comment so much. But let's not push that agenda of $200 million spent with nothing to show for. I think we should hold on.
I'm not pushing that agenda.
We should hold off on that. Okay, so the point I wanted to make quickly is that they've come in. When they go and do their consultative rounds in the constituencies and the districts, they will finally realize why we push for the party lines for MMDC.
Right.
If they get that consultative briefing and they still want to do the MMDC on non-partisan line, they have the numbers in Parliament. They can
I
pass
think CDD or IDEC have done some work on it. And majority, I think about 70% of Ghanaians once MDCs elected on non-partisan basis.
Yes, absolutely.
I agree with you on what CDD has done. I'm saying to you that you are in government.
No, there are tons of data,
but I'm saying that you are in government.
That says that, look.
There's political thinking and there is ordinary thinking. What is politically prudent and what is ordinary prudent is not always the same.
I agree with you.
So, like I said, you've now come in. We have done our consultative meetings. We have done the rounds, and we decided that, look, based on the consultativeness that we've done, the political prudence of what it is to do it on political rounds. You are saying, no, you want to do it on, that's fine, but I'm saying that eventually you will come around to our thinking. You are now thinking as an individual Ghanaian, which I was there before until we did a consultative round.
Consultation. I was lucky to have been on the Committee on Local Government in Parliament. We engaged so much with the then minister on that matter. Trust me, there was no way they would have done any consultations the assemblies without Parliament.
That's fine.
There was no. It was a political decision. And we won against it.
All right.
And so when we withdrew from the process, they knew they were going to fail.
Right.
And so they had to stop the referendum. But to have the MMDCs elected on non-partisan basis. Look,
today,
people
don't we say that the assembly? Okay,
what people don't understand about this thing is that, look, when we say partisan basis, local assembly or officers should be elected on partisan basis, it's not just the DCs. Even assemblymen and new country members.
But isn't that what is happening?
Because they're on the same,
isn't that what is happening now?
line.
Yeah.
You see, today.
No, isn't that what's happening?
No, you see.
Well, not officially.
No, but that is what. Let's put the plaster on the wound. Isn't that what's happening now?
Yes.
You go to our villages, our communities. You have an assemblyman who is perceived as NPP or NDC.
Yes.
But the mere fact that he was not sponsored by a political party, when you have a problem in the community, even though you know he doesn't share your political orientation, you still have the confidence to go to him to complain to him.
Yes.
Do you get it?
I get it.
But once we make it too partisan, too obvious, it will take the same trend of MPP, NDC as in parliament.
You know what?
And that is not what we want to achieve
I agree.
in this country.
No, I agree with you. Look, I agree with you that the local elections that we do, assembly elections that we do, is along partisan lines. But the only reason why...
Not in all cases.
Well,
not
largely.
all cases.
Largely.
Not in all cases.
Largely, because you know why? Even in my area,
yes,
you see assemblyman says, vote for me, and then you see the green background.
Yes.
And then you see the blue background.
Yes.
But I agree, it's not everywhere.
It's not everywhere.
But the point I'm trying to make is this, that I think we're still better off pretending.
No.
Don't use the urban areas as
no, what I'm saying that, no, I'm just saying that I still think that we're better off pretending. Do you know why?
Why?
Because the day we declare it officially that now the elections are going to be done along partisan lines, it will defeat the purpose.
Why? No, it wouldn't.
Yeah, because we will still come back to this.
Let me tell you what. Listen,
it is an NDC assemblyman.
But it is an NDC
assemblyman.
Why are we?
And then we relate to them differently.
No, we don't. Let me give you the two extremes.
Okay.
Let's take the Anglong area.
Okay.
Right? So the district in the Anglong area. Are you telling me that an independent person who is non-affiliated to NDC
or NPP
can
that's
NDC?
Yes.
That's one of their strong
can win an
assembly election there.
It's
can
possible.
win? No, please.
It's possible.
Today they have the report. We have the report. Yes. Right? When assembly elections are done, every political party now have how many of their party members are in which assembly. So why are we pretending? All I'm saying is that let's not drag this matter. If you think that you want to go along the line of the pretense, which is what we are doing, because you see, the thing is that assembly elections today are on party lines. And they themselves are boasting that areas that they got more assembly, they want the seat. No, hold on. What I'm saying, let me see. Where they are boasting, NDC today are boasting that areas where they want more assembly seats, they won the constituency. So they are going to deepen that thing where they are going to go for more assembly seats. NDC going to go for more assembly seats in most of the districts, and then as a result, it will become they will win the constituency because they are boasting that their victory in the 2024 election was as a result because they have a party and they have the report that where they've gotten more assemblymen, they've taken the seats. So they want all of us to pretend. My brother, they want all of us to pretend.
We won the elections because
I never said you won the election. I'm saying that you won some seats.
Yes.
You won some seats where your own people are touting on NDC platforms.
Are you on those platforms?
How do you know the platforms are? You are touting on NDC platforms.
You need to investigate. He's on one of your platforms.
But we have platforms that are like Kwabrin Punto. Kwabrin Punto is not an NPP. It's everybody.
It's everybody's
There are platforms like the Techiman Classic. It's everybody. There are platforms everybody's on. But you guys are touting that areas where you won, the success story for you is that let's try and win more assembly seats. Now, in fact, you've heard our General Secretary, Justin Kodia, speak on this issue. In one of the issues that has come up in the Michael Quay report was that some of the reason in some constituencies was as a result of the assembly election. And our General Secretary has openly talked about it. Let me land.
Nobody is arguing.
So the point is that why pretend? When it's happening in the assembly election, you are pretending, behaving like ostriches. We want to do the same for the MMDC. When we know clearly that it's going to be, there's no way an NDC person will win MMDC in Bantama. There's no way an MPP person will win in Kita. Why are we pretending?
But you see, there's a problem we're trying to resolve. The problem is that we're looking for competent people who
yes, but the competent people can join political parties.
Yeah, but not everybody. Not everybody wants to put themselves up for a position through a political party route.
But an independent person can also stand. You know that.
Yes,
and we've all known the history of independence in this country.
But then, if we go by what you're saying, that we should elect our MMDCs along partisan lines, what it means is that if you are not from Party A or Party B.
Look,
it means that you will struggle to win.
Tomorrow, you can go independent.
Tomorrow.
You're not going to win anyway.
That would also mean going for primaries.
Which primaries?
Yes,
we are still dealing with primaries and cost of elections with MPs.
They will come and add MMDCs.
We would have to do primaries. Even assemblymen, unit committee members will have to go for primaries to elect who will represent the party at the assembly level.
Is that what we want to do? Is it any different from what is happening now?
Are you happy with what we're going through?
Let's move on.
Let's do something different. Let's do something
different. We have a position. Look, we have a position. You have a position. Our was to do it and do it along party lines. You guys are saying no. You now have the numbers. Pass it and let's move.
Okay, so let's move on.
That one is just a parliamentary.
Because half a loaf is better than none.
Okay.
To elect MMDCs, not do it at all.
So the two of you agree that it's about time that we
elect
them. Yes, I get it.
Yes.
In the two manifestos, that's what I'm saying. The two of you agree.
Yes.
The debate now is the route.
Yes,
exactly. The model.
The debate now is let's not pretend any longer. They want to pretend. We say let's not pretend any longer. But
we are not
they have the numbers in parliament. They call themselves the supermajority. They call themselves supermajority. Let them pass it. Let them take it through. We would have moved the needle. Okay, because the needle needs to be moved. Let's try that and see what happens.
All right, so let's take the short break. When we come back, we'll move on. We have some other things we need to talk about. I mean, this topic is not a new one. We've been here before. We've debated it over the years. And it looks like the two positions will not change. So we'll take a short break. When we come back, we would find out why the minority MPs are insisting that Ghana is experiencing doomsday. Please stay with us.
Just call me cockroach. Now, Monsieur friend me once now.
Hey, that's you. Improve car. Yeah. Captain Mosquito, double the accent. Me need a sasso spray. Monsieur friend is sasso quell. Yeah, go to my sasso. Come tum preko.
Mommy.
Michelle say, fe.
Different era, better result. Time has changed and time has brought Kel Chocolate Toothpaste, healthy gums, anti-cavity, fresher breath, and it whitens teeth. Chocolate Toothpaste. Sankofa.
Yenchi. Kel Chocolate Toothpaste.
Happy Smile.
This advert is FDA approved.
I'm a brand manager. Of course, I accept only quality and affordable printed souvenirs for my promotional campaigns.
I'm the head of academic affairs of a very important institution in Ghana. Of course, we only deal with quality, reliable printing companies for our institution's printing materials. I'm talking about appointed time printing.
Appointed Time Printings. We take pride in our extensive print scope that transform your ideas into captivating visual masterpieces. We delve into the core objectives and vision of each print project. Precision printing is at the heart of our printing process as we meet your tight deadlines. Our rigorous inspection, color verification, and overall printing excellence are assured. 20 years of printing excellence. It's always a pleasure working with you to create a vibrant, dazzling printing experience that gives you a masterpiece. Appointed Time Printing, your world of quality and affordable printing.
Where to get Polytank?
Oh, and you're fine.
Go straight.
No, I want to left, right.
That's right. Ghana na yewono. So we need Jomwa and a data. Oh no! Abe, na here. Me pe Polytank ato. Enu nti na me nua ba yo tu pe na ba edo. O fu tu bia, e se entwa ye kura.
Akuya bulambo kotoman. Emu ha.
Like they took my eyes. Go to the distributor and you give the original Polytank. Polytank, Papananka. You get a sound?
Polytank, Papananka Sankasa.
Cratchy, unemu bua unkoisha Dr. Ban uye denwa.
Oh, Missy Yamfan come and me burua.
Mami do bro. Don't ya tell me ko bra. Mumi Yamfan ko Dr. Ban ho. Dr. Ban o ya de. Bra, se ban no mpemu adwuma sasabro sro Dr. Ban o ye.
Say ni kemi kwa na meka. Oh no mpemu nim di ono na ye expert nya zanfo no. O akra any Kumasi no mpemu expert yen kan kire.
MGL Logistics and Supply is your trusted partner, providing seamless solutions for all your procurement needs. From sourcing products to managing imports and exports, we ensure smooth and efficient transactions every step of the way. Whether you require goods from across the globe or need assistance in exporting your products to international markets, we got you covered. General trading is at the heart of our expertise. We specialize in a wide range of products, catering to various industries and markets. As a trusted dealership in building materials, we provide high-quality products that meet the demands of our construction projects. Additionally, we act as manufacturers' representatives, connecting producers with distributors. Our expertise in logistics is the backbone of our operations. We plan and execute transportation and delivery of goods, ensuring they reach their destination on time and in optimal condition. MGL Logistics and Supply, guaranteed satisfaction.
You're live in Good Morning Ghana on Metro Television. My name is Aldo Mora. I'm here with Kojo Poku Nsafwa. He's Nsafwa Poku. He's actually Nsafwa Poku, right? Who is an energy expert and also a member of the NPP's communications team. He's also the executive director of InStep. I believe I got that correctly. Yep. And also Mohamed Abdulaziz, a former member of parliament for the Mian constituency and also a deputy administrator for GIFEC. He's also taking time off his very busy schedule to join us. We're grateful for the two of them. We've been having a very interesting conversation about the Accra floods. I know it sounds like a tiring topic, but it is what it is. We're here. The rains are with us, and the Ghana Meteo Authority tells us that there's more rain that we should expect, but we need to find a way of making sure that we mitigate the effects of the devastation of the rain, and that's why we're trying to think through what we can do immediately. But we need to move on. So I talked about the minorities press conference yesterday, but the Energy Ministry also has a statement in response to the minorities press conference. But before that, let's look at this story by Ernest Kofi Addo from Parliament, who says the minority in Parliament has accused the Minister of Energy and Green Transitions, John Jinapor, of focusing on public relations while the country's power sector slides deeper into crisis. The caucus expressed frustration over what they described as the minister's pattern of fear-inducing statements and failure to offer real solutions. Speaking at a press conference led by George Kwame Abuaje, ranking member of the Energy Committee, the minority warned that the country is edging dangerously close to a full-scale power emergency, one that threatens to cripple businesses, strain households, and undermine President John Dramani Mahamad's flagship 24-hour economy vision. Under the theme, and I think we should stop using this under the theme thing. It's not, I don't think it's good language. It should be on the theme. You know, stop the talking, fix the lights before the 24-hour economy becomes a 24-hour blackout. The minority lambasted the minister for recent remarks that Ghana had only 2.6 days of fuel left. According to the minority, such claims are not only unfounded but damaging to investor confidence and public morale. They recalled a similar incident when the minister, during the swearing-in of the president, announced that Ghana had only 5 hours of fuel left. A statement he later clarified applied solely to heavy fuel, which is heavy fuel oil, which is HFO, but not before triggering unnecessary panic. The minority said these alarmist tactics must end as they erode trust and distract from the real work of stabilizing the power sector. The minister, it says, Mr. Abuaje emphasized that Ghanaians are already burdened by a 14.75% increase in electricity tariffs this year, yet service delivery continues to deteriorate. He described the situation as unacceptable and warned that patience among consumers is wearing thin. All right, so there's a lot that the minority said yesterday, but the Energy Ministry has a reaction or a response to the issues that have been raised by the minority in Parliament. And I'm sure that Annie, can we please put that up and read that to the, bring that to the attention of our viewers, what the Energy Minister's reaction to what the minority has said. I think it's just about a half page or so. So when it's ready, would bring you that that press release by the Energy Ministry. But whilst waiting for the statement, perhaps I can, okay, let me read it from here. Whilst Annie gets ready to put it out. So the statement reads, yep. Right, so it says that press release for immediate release. Ghana's generation capacity enough to meet peak demand. Minorities call for load management timetable misplaced. Now it says our attention has been drawn to a press conference held by the minority in Parliament demanding a publication of a load management timetable. It is instructive to know that as a country, our current power supply capacity is adequate to meet existing demand, even during peak hours. Whilst acknowledging that we inherited an extremely challenged distribution system, the government and the power sector players continue to take the needed steps to permanently resolve these challenges. The current power generation capacity is sufficient to meet peak demand. Here, there is no basis for a load shedding timetable at this time. The government remains committed to the consistent provision of electricity to the Ghanaian people. Signed, Richmond Roxing, Esquire, spokesperson and head of communications. So that's the statement which has been released by the Energy Ministry. So let's try and put all of this together. Mohamed, because it's the minority that is raising concerns with what they call the alarmist tactics by the minister, and also saying that from where they sit, our power crisis is still on. It is nowhere near, being solved. Kojo?
Yes.
You agree that we still have power crisis? That we still have Dumsor?
You see, I don't like using terminology.
Okay.
Because when I, Kojo Poku, have sat on multiple platforms and given a definition for Dumsor, and the statement the ministry put out there clearly is going on the tangent I'm on, that Dumsor is when we do not have enough generational capacity to meet our demand, which we do. But the point is, are our lights going off? And the question is 100% yes.
Right.
Look, I honestly think that I don't need to sit on any TV or radio station to tell Ghanaians what they are going through. Ghanaians know what they are going through. Those that are unfortunate enough not to have power can watch us, right? Those that are fortunate to have generators may be able to watch us. But at most, those that can watch us are those whose light probably only came on this morning or light has just come on. They are the ones who can watch us. So everybody in this country knows what they are going through. You don't need Kojo Poku to come on here to reiterate to Ghanaians, something that NDC did numerous times.
Okay.
The problem my brother John Jinapor is having, and I'm surprised that his own people are taking him to task and bashing him in a way that I would have thought they would have left it to the opposition to do. But they are not.
Some people.
Who? Oh, XYZ. Haven't you watched the XYZ program? You can watch it. Oh, go and look for it.
You mean XYZ TV?
XYZ TV. Julius Debra station. Go and look Mugabe and co. What they are doing to their own minister.
They're bashing him?
Oh, they are saying that they don't need. What even annoys them is he comes and says 2.6 days. What is 0.6 days? But let me explain. 2.6 days to my brothers who are bashing the minister is that he is being given a technical briefing.
Right.
In engineering, in thermodynamics, you can have 0.6. So 2.6 days is actually 62.4 hours, which will translate into 2 days, 14 hours and 24 minutes. So the minister cannot come and say that, oh, I have enough fuel for 2 days, 14 hours and 24 minutes. So what the presentation given to the minister will be like 2.6 days. So there's nothing wrong with John Jinapor saying 2.6 days. And they are pushing him to say that the almost time crowd, and say he comes out and say 2.6 days. What is 2.6 days? But his own people are the ones who are doing that to him.
But these are journalists who are criticizing him.
No. They are NDC spokespeople, commentators. The presenter was not part of the conversation.
Okay.
I don't know the name of the guy who was on there, but it was Mugabe and somebody else. And the guy was just taking John to task. But the issue I want to raise is that we should give him time. The problem he has is that his own words is what is coming back to hurt him.
Okay.
I sat here with him. He sat here, I sat there. And John was like, when we come in the first 100 days, we would bring friends, the energy sector debt, and we brief the president, and he's aware. You guys can play the tape. It's me and him and Randy here. All right? And I told him that it's not possible for the government to ring-fence the energy sector debt. Because what you're doing is that you are bringing into the Ministry of GOG, if a state-owned enterprise has a debt, and Ministry of Finance, Government of Ghana wants to ring-fence it, it means that you are bringing new set of debt onto the government, which the World Bank will not allow.
Right.
So you've been in for 4 months. You went and met the subcommittee on energy. I think what John should have done, the Honorable Minister should have done, was to tell them the achievements he has chalked in the 4 months. Because I know he's giving some directives. ECG is the problem. The biggest problem is ECG. But John has given some directives. How have those directives, what results have they yielded? Because I know there was multiple collection accounts. He's given a directive for a one collection account so that all the monies come into one.
All those accounts have been taken off.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So there's a one collection account. What have been the results when you did the one collection account, right? Instead of coming to tell us the debt of ECG and the deficiencies and how much they collect and how much they owe, that we know. We know before you came in, right? But you being there for the 4 months, your directives know what has it done. Now, you gave a directive that only certain amount of money should be given to ECG. Because in the tariff structure, before, what happens is that ECG is used to collecting all the money, which is everybody's money for the revenue collection for the electricity tariffs, and then decide what goes to other people. The minister has decided that no, ECG should only be given what is called the distribution service charge, which is the money due to ECG. They should live within their means, which is you get your DSC, live within it, right? And the rest of the money has to go to the value chain. How much of that are you putting
under the cash waterfall?
How much of that is going into the cash waterfall mechanism, and how much of that is going, and how has that improved the liquidity in the value chain as a result of having more money in the cash waterfall mechanism? You didn't tell us that. Thirdly, you need to also tell us your new management under Julius Pepena in ECG what reforms has he put in place? Because you came in, there was big procurement buhala of some containers that has come in plenty at the port, things that so-called we didn't need that has been imported, blah, 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 blah. The last 3 months, the new MD, what procurement reforms has he put in place? Giving him only the set of money he needs, what reforms has Julius Pepena put in ECG to make them efficient, lean, and better? Yes, we are doing the retail last mile, which I hear Cabinet has approved, right? But that is only going to take out the billing and revenue from ECG. ECG is still going to do their core function. So there's a need for reform of ECG. How is that going? Have that started? What is the vision of the new MD? The new board is under Mr. Mona, who is a very seasoned professional person. What is the strategy? So Honorable John Jinapong should have gone to the Committee on Energy to give them these comprehensive briefing. That would have stopped all the bashing that he is getting. You understand? Because the bashing that he's getting from his own NDC people is to say that he is basically scaremongering the president. Which for me, I don't see where that is. But when you said on the 7th of January that there is only 3 hours or 5 hours of fuel left.
You said 5.
5 hours of fuel left. You are blaming Nana Addo's government. Agreed. When you say on May 19th or so that there is only 2.6 days of fuel left, who are you blaming? Are you blaming the president?
He says...
Are you blaming His Excellency John Dramani Mahama?
Well, he explains that apparently that comment he made wasn't meant for public consumption.
Well, no, everything you say as a minister is meant for public consumption. You are addressing the subcommittee.
He was addressing the subcommittee.
The media was there. So everything you say is for public consumption as a minister. Please, then my brother John should take note. Everything you say as a minister is for public consumption. Right. They will scrutinize what you say. I agree. He was giving an update. Yes. He was briefing the subcommittee on what the state is, because his statement was, as I sit here, I have a headache, right? We only have 2.6 days of fuel left. We've got some fuel coming in, and we are even figuring out how to pay for it. So that was a statement. He wasn't coming out to put his hand on the head and moan that, hey, I can't do it. That was not what he was doing. But the media took it on, and it became the topic. So my point is that, my brother, Honorable Minister, please tell us, because I know, because I talked to John, right? And he's somebody that I have pledged my support to that, look, Ghana first. So we want Ghana to work. We want the legislature to work. So I talk a lot to him. I talk with him a lot. And he should try to tell us the things he's doing. It's not for me, Kojo Poku, to come on Metro to tell Ghanaians what the Honorable Minister of Energy under the NDC government is doing. That's not my job. I even did not do that when NPP was in government and Napo was there. I didn't even come here to tell them what Napo was doing. But it looks like he doesn't have the communicators to go out there and communicate the good work that he's doing. Because clearly, in the last 5 minutes, I've outlined certain things that I know he has directed, right? But I am not the one to sit here and beat a man when he's down. His own people are doing that for him. So for me, you see, and my warning, my plea to the president is that please don't listen to the people who want that job. Because I know all the people doing this in the media, they want that job. So they are trying to make the minister look bad. It's too early for that. Okay. Let's give him some space to basically do what he needs to do.
Okay.
On the point of the minority calling for a timetable, if there is a timetable to be given, why not? There is an area in Kwabre Hemai. They've been in darkness for 3 weeks. 3 weeks, because their transformer blew. Okay? There are areas that have transformer problems. There are areas that have localized problems. But guess what? Last year, 2 years ago, when Kojo Poku sat and said that, oh, some of the areas are going off because of localized problems, I was chewed, I was spat at, and I was basically told to just basically go to hell because it's not true. It is misappropriation of funds, the government doesn't have money, and that is why lights are going off. Today, as we speak now and we sit now, the Ministry of Energy and the Minister of Finance has released about almost $200 million for procurement of fuel.
Yes.
Are the lights still not going off? Yeah. So now, I think my brother John Jinapong will realize that it is not about money. And I've said this all the time, that your light goes off is not because about money. I'm the only one that has been consistent for the last 13 years to say that lights going off, it's not about money. You need to manage the sector, right? I have heard him say that, oh, he's going to go and talk to Talo for 30 mm's cap of gas. He's going to go to Nigeria to increase gas. How long does it take to go to Nigeria? How long does it take to talk to Talo? So you keep kicking these things and saying these things, and we are not seeing it. And people are in darkness. That's the truth. So if the minority is calling for a timetable, if there is timetable that can come out, why not? If you think there isn't timetable, and Ghanaians should just basically guess when their light is go off.
But the money argument which you've just raised, because I don't know whether you're raising as a general principle that you're standing by, which is to say that when we're struggling with the constant supply of electricity, it is because it is a financial problem as a general principle.
It's a technical problem.
It's a technical problem.
When your light, I've always maintained for the last 13 years that when your light goes off, it's technical, it's not financial. And funny enough, when MPP was in opposition
before 2016,
2016, when I said it,
yes,
they didn't agree with me, right? When MPP was in opposition, when I said that, when you're doing 2012 and 2016, I was consistent that lights going off is technical, it's not financial.
Yes.
Then, hold on. Then when NDC came into opposition and MPP came into power, NDC started repeating the same thing. It's financial, it's financial. Today, my brother John Jinapo, who, if you go online and Google how many times...
Let me, I'm told that we have John on the line.
The minister?
Yes, the minister.
Okay, that's good. Let him come on.
JJ, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
I hope you're doing well, sir.
We're managing.
All right.
You're doing more than managing, my brother.
Your friend Kojopoku says hello.
Oh, my regards to him.
Yeah, he says his regards to you. Anyway, so JJ, just a couple of issues. You know you don't have that much time. We're also running out of time. But just a couple of issues. Now, the minority held a news conference yesterday, and they raised quite a number of issues. The first one is that, first of all, you are engaged in... So basically, you're talking too much instead of doing your work. And also, why are you taking us on an emotional roller coaster with this 5 hours more to bring in fuel, otherwise we'll go off, and now recently you just said 2.6 days more, otherwise something bad will happen. Why are you doing that?
Thank you. First of all, I'm surprised at the minority. I'm sitting in my office as minister. I am working. The minority, inclusive, because they are part of parliament. They invite me as minister. Come and give them a full vision on the state of Ghana's energy situation, i.e., all the statistics, challenges, and what we are doing to address the challenges. As minister, I oblige. I go to give the briefings. They bring in the press to cover the briefing. The press reports, and the same minority says, why should the minister talk? I did not invite the press. I did not say I want to speak to the press. They invited me. And they put in the press to cover everything. So I provided the statistics. The debt situation, our fuel situation, our generation capacity, and what we are doing to address the challenges we inherited. So in giving them the statistics, I told them that we have 2 days, 6 hours of light crude oil for one of the plants. I didn't say they will be able to share it. I didn't say there's imminent challenge. I even added that we've ordered 450,000 barrels of light crude oil to augment whatever stock we have. Even if we have 1 day, just 1 day of fuel stock, we have fuel replacing that. It's not an issue. But for some reason, some media reported more on the 2 days, 6 hours, and painted it as if there's some crisis looming. As minister, I have to correct that and assure the Republic that, look, yes, it's 2.6 days, but it's not alarming. We have fuel coming in. There's no cause for concern. Don't worry. The situation is improving. Then the same minority goes to hold a press conference and say that the minister is talking too much. And then ask the minister to publish a load-shedding timetable. When at the meeting, I gave them the statistics of our generation capacity, I gave them the statistics of our demand, and told them that in order to meet that demand, we've cut all exports to virtually zero. And so we are not shedding load. Moro, if you are not shedding load, how do you publish a load shedding timetable? Yesterday, and Kojo can check from the control room. Yesterday, we had enough generation to meet demand. The day before yesterday, the same. So how do you publish a load shedding timetable when, as we speak, your demand meets, the supply meets your demand? I did admit to them that some plants were due for maintenance last year. For some reason, they were not allowed to do so, but I've given them the permission to do that. So because of that, we don't have a reserve margin, and that's a fact. So if one plant goes off, we run into a temporary challenge, and then we try and bring the plant back. But the plant is not gone off. They are working. How do I publish a load shedding timetable? And then when they say you are talking too much, this one, I'll explain them.
I see. Now, John, hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Yes, so that 2.6 days buffer that we have left, what have you done since then to make sure that we do not run into any kind of challenge?
Them. What you do is that when you have 2.6 days, you then bring in buoy power to run a little bit more. As we speak, the vessel is in, so we're taking more deliveries. And then you even out. In fact, I was even talking about the liquid fuel to buttress why we need a gas infrastructure. Because once you have the gas, then you don't need to go and order for light crude. The vessel doesn't need to come. You don't have an issue of saying that you have only 3 days, 4 days, or 1 week, because the gas flows. All you might need is some liquid fuel as strategic stock, just in case you have some interruption with gas supply. So it was a very frank, open discussion, because I thought I was with my colleagues who understand the sector better. And so we should have an open discussion, tell them about the solutions, what we are doing with generation, the plans that are coming on, how we're trying to get more gas from Nigeria. We are working with Talo to increase gas to our Tuabo plant. We are working with ENI to increase gas in August. I mean, my understanding was that it was a very, very frank discussion with my colleagues. Then the Volta region MPs, this issue about Volta region power. And once again, I'm happy we have an expert there. The transmission line to Volta region is a 69 kVA line. All the other lines are 161 or 330. So because it's 69, it's like loading a Tico truck with goods in an articulator truck. The line will be going on and off, or the frequency will start decaying, or the frequency will be very low in Volta region. It's been like that for years. I explained to them at the meeting and told them measures that we've put in place, where we've reached. Finance ministers, no objection. I'm waiting for Public Procurement Authorities Board to be established. Then we can go to TPA for procurement and begin the commencement of taking a 330 kVA line from Tamale through Bimbila, Karachi, all the way towards Pando, so that we can reduce the burden and increase the capacity. So when I heard those comments again, I don't know whether they were misreported. But these are the facts.
Okay. My penultimate question, what's the current update with Kapa? They had threatened to shut down their plant. What's the update on that?
Thank you. Car Power issue came up. Car Power is owed about $400 million. We've inherited that debt. We are working around it. Car Power writes a letter and say that they will shut down by 18th. Today is 20th, is that not it? They've not shut down because we engaged them. And I told the MPs there that yes, it's a major challenge. Car Power is threatening. But through negotiation, Car Power has agreed to withdraw that ultimatum. And so Car Power is continuing to supply power. We are even revalidating their claims because I think that we should look at the claims again. But in the interim, we'll get them some payment so that it will hold us together whilst we find a solution. And what else will the minister do apart from what I've done? Yes, there's a debt. IPPs alone are owed $1.79 billion. Power generators are owed $3 billion, and all this in dollars. But we have to solve it because we are a government. And it's not like the minister just complains and says that Power wants to shut down. So I've thrown my hands in the air. No. You talk about the problem and you talk about the solution. So that if members or experts like Ojo and Koso have some suggestions, they add it to yours, you take it on board, and you make progress. I think that is how we build a nation.
That's good to know. Now, the container gate, simply put, what's the update?
Yes, the containers. We wrote to National Security after the initial report. They've supported us. What we are doing now is to retrieve all the containers that are stuck there and put them to good use. Because the more you keep the containers there, then you have this issue of stolen containers. I've also written to the Attorney General, look at the report critically and possibly institute criminal charges and prosecution against those who are found culpable. But he is written to me that he wants the team to do further investigation so that you will have very tight, concrete evidence. So I'm waiting on the Attorney General. But on the other side, retrieving as many containers as we can so that we don't use the taxpayers' money to buy the same products. That is what we are doing with the containers.
You quite clearly are suffering from what I'll term as the paradox of keeping Ghanaians updated on what you're doing, which is carrying Ghanaians along. And the paradox is here that you tell us what the state of affairs is and what you're trying to do to solve it, and yet your critics are saying you're talking too much. So how do you intend to navigate your way out of this? Are you going to stop talking or you continue to talk?
Maybe I would. You know what surprises me? The MPs who invited me. The MPs who brought the press. Moro, until I heard the MPs, was there any discussion? It's the MPs who brought the media. I did not bring the media. I did not go to the press. I was sitting in the ministry working. So it becomes very difficult to understand the same people who pulls me in, brings the press, they cover it, and then they go and say, why did you speak? Anyway, we've appointed a very good spokesperson. And so I'll leave a lot of the work for the spokesperson. I just thought that this one, the minister himself had to clear the air and assure Ghanaians that there isn't panic, especially when there's information out there that, look, there's going to be panic, doom shot looming, there's a challenge. I thought that the minister himself would step forward and clear the air.
Okay.
I think I've done enough. I'll pull back and concentrate on the work and allow my spokesperson to deal with the rest. But I thank all of you. This comment shaped me, it helps me. But I tell you, I will deal with all these situations. I've seen a similar situation before, and it's early days. I've just done barely 4 months, and if I show you what we've done so far, we continue on trajectory. We'll make progress.
Kojo Poku, who is your friend, but also one of your fiercest critics, says that he thinks you're doing quite some good job. Unfortunately, you are not communicating that properly to Ghanaians, and that's why it is quick for people to take you on when you make comments that some people think they can, take out of context. I mean, do you agree with Kojo on that?
No, I think that criticism is a good fit. This world, you cannot know everything.
Okay.
You cannot be an oasis of all knowledge. You do your best. Every day you learn. And I'm telling you, I've learned a lot from my interaction with the MPs. I don't want to put it out there, but I've learned a lot. I mean, like I said, I had a strong feeling that I was dealing with my colleagues. So I feel very comfortable speaking to them. But I take Kojo's criticism in good faith. That's public life. You can't get everything right. You learn and then smoothing the edges. Thank you.
Right. Father John, what's the latest? So, how do you plan to deal with the 80 billion cedis energy sector debts that you recently drew attention to? What plans do you have to retire these debts? It's quite a humongous figure.
We are trying to refinance it, i.e. to sit with the sector players and tell them, look, if you insist on this, what we've inherited, we may all go down. And if you go down, you're also going to suffer. So let's agree on a haircut. We're going to do that. Let's agree on a payment structure. Then we can bring it up. But more importantly, we need to stop the bleeding. As we speak, the collections are not enough to meet the payments. We need to do that. And we've closed all ECG's accounts. They have one account. This quarter, if you look at what happened last year, ECG paid on average $105 million to the IPPs. This quarter, we've paid $181 million to the IPPs. So it tells you that there's light at the end of the tunnel. The IPPs see the money coming regularly, and it puts them in an active state. But going forward, we are not going to sign any direct UPAs again. No. Either VRE leads it, or if we want IPPs, we advertise. We set the criteria, and everybody bids. We choose the best with a condition, and I insist on that, that 7 or 10 years when you finish repaying, you hand the plan to VRE, just like the American model. But I believe in open competitive tender process, especially for solar and then for thermal plants.
Okay.
And then we're going to retool VRE to also procure some big power plants that are in combined cycle mode so that they can serve as base load to reduce the cost of power. With the efficiency we are putting in place, we would be able to get somewhere. The major challenge now is that, and Kojo may know, the liquid fuels is not part of the tariff structure. So even if we do 100% collection, there's still a deficit with the liquid fuels. We are looking at all the scenarios, and I'm sure we'll come out with a way.
Okay. All right, JJ, thank you very much for your time. Have a good day. John Jinapor is the Minister for Energy and Green Transition. Yeah, bringing us up to speed on some concerns that have been raised by the minority in that press yesterday. You heard him?
Yeah.
Briefly, so that I can go to Mohammed.
Yeah, it's good to talk. I mean, John is the one person I think he loves the engagement. He can't, I mean, for a minister to be watching the program and calling, it tells you that he's monitoring, and I mean, unlike me that will be listening to music, he's busy monitoring. He's busy monitoring the airwaves and responding, which is good. One of the things that, like I said, is that I think, like he said, he went to do an engagement to brief the subcommittee. I think his briefing to the subcommittee should be a bit more heavy on what he has done and what basically the problems he met. But like he's saying, he thinks that he's been dealt unfair hand, where what the statistics of what he gave in terms of the problem has been more highlighted than what basically has been done. That is, I mean, a fair thing to do. But look, I honestly think that we have a problem. Okay. I don't, like I said, I'm not the one to basically sit on TV and tell Ghanaians what they're going through. Ghanaians know what they're going through. Lights are off, lights are off. I mean, at the end of the day, I wouldn't call it doom. So even when I was in Kumasi on Lawson TV, I said that right now when your light goes off, zoo is that.
Well, Moro, after listening to John, who am I to speak?
John Jinapor.
John Jinapor.
Not John Boama.
Oh, no. After listening to John, who am I to speak on the issue of energy and energy-related issues? What I'm happy about him is that the cardinal angle of this government is public engagement. I'm not surprised that he has called in. I'm not surprised that he's engaging us. Let us know what he's doing at the ministry. You see, when you are leading human beings and not animals, you need to constantly engage them to know what you are doing. He's one person that everybody would agree is very knowledgeable in that industry, very experienced. This is not the first time of working at the ministry, and very diligent and very good communicator. But like I explained, the man is seated in his office. You, the minority MPs, says you want to engage him to know what he's doing at the ministry. Then you walk in with media without his consent. The man tells you what is happening at the ministry, and you come to blame him of talking too much.
But it's not a minority MP.
This
it's
is
a subcommittee.
But led by the man has said it. That yes,
the ranking is
it's part of.
But it's a subcommittee on energy, so don't blame the minority too much.
But they actually instigated the meeting. And when you invite a minister as parliament, a subcommittee of parliament, he's obliged to appear before you, to update you. The man comes to speak, and you tend to blame him for speaking too much. If you didn't want the man to talk, you should not have engaged him. You see, now, what I'm happy about the whole issue is that, look, today, he's told us that he has cancelled all the 83 bank accounts of ECG. Can you imagine one state company running 84 bank accounts? What was the purpose? What was the intent? What was the motive? That is cancelled. Today, we are told that ECG is running only one bank account at a commercial bank. Now, we're also aware that under the same John Jinapor, we are coming to have a second gas plant. Remember, the first gas plant was done under President Mills, President Mahama. That gas plant, you are well versed in that industry. I stand for correction from you. It saved this country about $300 million annually. The second gas plant is already MOU for that. The second plant that he has announced that the government will do. Can you imagine 8 years and we have been told of MOU? The man states that by the time President Mahama will leave office, they are committed to having a second gas plant that will save this country annually about $500 million. You are in the industry. Imagine spending about $1.1 billion annually to import light crude, when you can do a plant and save yourself about $500 million. Under the Millennium Compact Agreement, where President Mahama, after successfully executing the first phase of the compact, secured about $536 million. A chunk of that amount was supposed to be dedicated to the distribution end of our power value chain. You were in power for 8 good years. That you couldn't achieve. You attempted with PDS. And we heard people who were connected to the previous regime, who were on telephone planning on how to share the booty of PDS. We heard their voices. In fact, that led to the compact recalling about $190 million. Yes. If you had done what we were supposed to do with compact 2, I'm not sure we would have been encountering these commercial and technical losses as much as we are doing today. And so the minority should be the last to talk about the energy sector. After collapsing that sector, you made free money.
You're looking at me asking me.
Free money. $190 million. They had to call it back. PDS, we all know what happened to PDS and those behind it. Today you have a minister who is not just knowledgeable in that area, experienced and committed. You have a president who is visionary, who is taking you on a path to redeem the energy sector. And you want to accuse him of talking too much. John Jinapor continues to engage the public. More of you have forgotten. Yep. In the recent past, when we had Dumso under the NPP, we were told it is Dum CC, Sexy Dumso. And that once it was coming from Akufo-Addo, it wasn't Dumso. To the extent that Otunfo had even complained about how his gadgets got spoiled. And one Ghanaians asked for a timetable. What was the response? We were asked to go and do our own timetables.
So is that what you're saying?
Is that not true?
Is that what you're saying?
I'm just telling you of our recent past.
Yeah, but
and I'm telling you that this is a minister and a government that is committed to engaging the people.
Hold.
Please.
Brother, Ghanaians have voted you into power.
Yes.
This thing where you are coming to now go on and enumerate all the things that has happened before. I honestly thought we were going to have a very open, frank conversation.
And that is why the minister is
engaging. But the way you are trying to now bring in PDS and bring in this, it's now going to let me now take off my hat and now also, because I don't think it's fair.
Bakojo, is it not true that a chunk of the $536 million
for what?
That we got under the compact was supposed to be used for the downstream of the value chain?
Yes, we agree.
Is it not true that we still have those challenges because nothing was done about that?
No,
and that PDS was used as a vehicle?
No, that's not true.
And that PDS was used as a vehicle to rob this country?
No, that's not true.
PDS was used as a vehicle?
That's not true.
Did PDS collect bills or not?
PDS
they collected bills.
My brother, you've asked a question. If you have time, let me explain.
And they never accounted for it.
You see, PDS was a concession that was given. They went through an open and public tender process.
Who were those behind
PDS? Nobody was behind PDS.
Sure?
The Malaysians on one. Look, the Malaysians. Look, my brother. individuals who go into business today, you guys are going to do the same thing. Oh. We've gotten a cabinet approval to do multiple concession at revenue and billing.
We are not going to find President Mahama
you are going to find companies.
We are not going to find President Mahama
let's not go down on
in
that
a telephone conversation.
Let's go down on that
how to lose this country.
PDS
it's happening at the PDS.
What I'm saying to you is that let's not go down that slippery slope. Because in Ghana, I honestly believe that we all do this thing to ourselves. If we want to start blaming people behind, then every company somebody is behind.
But when people do the wrong thing, don't you call them out?
But my point is that what is the wrong thing?
When people do wrong,
a competent company of international repute. Yes, I think we should.
Which
but
company?
Let me correct this.
We should move on.
The Malaysians that won the thing, they were a competent company of competent users. Yeah. Who were the shareholders of PDS? Did you see anybody in government who was a shareholder of PDS? It wasn't
Did you
the case.
hear
Let's
Bonti
not. I honestly,
my
brother, are we really
Gabi
going to go down
in
that
a
line?
telephone conversation about PDS or not?
We should move on.
Exactly. I mean, I don't
This
think it
matter
will
has
help.
come.
Exactly.
They have apologized.
It will help.
They have
I don't
apologized.
think it will help the conversation.
But we have apologized.
The issue is that for me, you understand, when you now look at the sector, you look at the sector where we are now. Yeah. If you keep going back enumerating all the things that happened last year, the question is,
if you don't know where you are coming from, you know where you are going to.
Well, that's fine, but we know. So why are you taking us? Now my lights are off. Tell me how my lights now will come on. Now forget about how
we are bringing a second plant.
Forget how we should fuel. Okay. But you see,
the man says that 450,000 light crude is on its way.
So hold on. My point is that when you mention that there is a second gas plant coming, let Ghanaians know that as we speak, that second train is not something that started now or somebody came up with it now. There was some condition. There was an agreement signed with two companies to build a second train. There were some condition precedents with the government of Ghana has to fulfill with Tallow and the people who bring the gas, so that the gas will now go into these trains. What happened was that because of the IMF situation, Ministry of Finance could not agree with Tallow on the agreements that Tallow wanted to be in place. That is why the agreement that was signed for the second train was not able to establish a second train. So let's not make it look like somebody has come with a novelty or a genius idea to build a second train. My brother, it's not an MOU, it's an agreement. It's an agreement that was signed. Okay. So, my brother, you have come. You see, me and you, I'm sure we'll meet quite a lot.
They were interested in buying life food every week. Because that's a very lucrative.
Isn't that what you're doing now? How many light could have you bought now?
Anymore, do you want to know those who are behind it? They were fighting among themselves about the import of light crude in this country.
So you have been in 4 months. In 4 months, you spent over $250 million on buying light crude. Let's not go on that conversation because you don't want to go in that conversation.
Right, so Ebo Bachman has sent a message. It's an
Please read that one.
It says, Mo, let it be said that technical problems are often resolved with financial investment, which means that they ultimately stem from financial constraints. Therefore, Kojun's first argument that challenges in the sector are purely technical and not financial lacks a solid foundation. That's Ebo Bachman, a very good friend. Let me also read this one from Kwejo Chumbwafo. You know, he's an ardent viewer of this program. Now, Kwejo Chumbwafo says, good morning, Moro. Ordinarily, when Kojo Poku Mahala is talking, I won't comment, but maybe he wasn't listening to his former flag bearer yesterday. Among the tallest of things that Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia apologized for, there was no mention of a lack of focus on district assembly elections. Kwejo, you lost the last election because you criminally mismanaged the trust of the Ghanaian people for 8 years, to the extent that the flag bearer himself sought to distance himself from the very government of which he was a number 2 man and chair of the economic management team. Let's remember the chronological transformation from what a solid team to the Aplanke monologues.
When is he inviting me to that his new office where he's freezing people's accounts?
He wants to know,
when are you inviting me to that your new office?
Your namesake.
You are freezing,
Prince Henry from Kupredia, also another regular view of the show. He says, good morning. The minority in parliament should be the last group of people calling for a power timetable. Look at the sober way the PRO for Energy Ministry updating us on the current power outages. This is a show of respect for the good people of Ghana. Just a few months ago, we had NAPO asking us to provide our own timetable if we think we're experiencing doom. So the days of arrogance of power is over. And it says, God bless our homeland, Ghana. God bless President John Dramani Mahama. And then finally, McLean also sent this one. McLean says, it's truly ironic to witness many of the prominent NDC members who were once outspoken critics while in opposition now serving as ministers, and their incompetence is glaringly evident. Take, for example, Honorable Sam Josh, who notably spoke against data policies in the past. It's disheartening to see him now presiding over a period marked by exorbitant data prices and subpar communication services in the country. The glaring disparity between words of action emphasizes the tangible consequences of relying solely on propaganda without delivering concrete results. The good people of Ghana deserve leaders who cannot only speak the talk but also walk the talk. Musa from Abattoir, and that's my final message. It says, Musa Abattoir, sorry, Nasawasi says, Mo Nana Puku is not being fair to the fact. I watched the said program and at no point did I witness anyone bashing the Energy Minister, Honorable John Jinapo. What was discussed was the need for him to be more proactive, particularly in keeping the public informed during power challenges. If that's what Nana defines as bashing, then I honestly question where his understanding of constructive criticism comes from. I respectfully disagree with the minority's position on the matter. The minister should rather be encouraged to enhance communication and focus on resolving the Dumsor issue, which is a challenge inherited from previous administration. All right, and Ebo Bachman. Okay, I think I've read Ebo Bachman's.
But I have a quick one.
Already.
Issue.
And then again, this one. This gentleman has been. Unfortunately, I can't find that message that this gentleman sent to me. But whilst at it, okay, good. So good morning. I am Eben from Kwabena. Eben, sorry about that. Eben from Kwabena. Dr. Bamia doesn't eat kinky. If he does, I don't think he will say what he said. It's a reckless government that bestowed on Ghanaians, made us buying a ball of kinky for 7 cities. Also, he took a dollar-city ratio from 4 cities to 17. Now the city is appreciating, so he thinks he can hook with all of us. We've gone past the propaganda era. That's from Eben in Kwabena. All right, so let me say a happy birthday to our media colleague who is now the deputy spokesperson at the presidency. We're talking about Shamima Muslim. Today, Shamima is celebrating her birthday. And we want to wish Shamima Muslim a happy birthday. You say once a journalist, always a journalist. So Shamima, from Annie, myself, Kojo Poku, Mohammed Abdulaziz, and Harriet and everybody here, Barbara, all the hard-working persons who make it possible for us to bring you Good Morning Ghana. The technical crew, we're saying happy birthday, especially from Kojo Poku. Yes, so happy birthday. So I want to thank you very much for your time. Kojo, it's been nice having you around, and also...
Every day in Ghana, a quiet revolution unfolds. A story of transformation, resilience, and unwavering commitment to creating a cleaner, greener nation. This is the story of the Jospong Group of